Hi friends, welcome to this tutorial. I'll be showing you in this lesson how to draft and sew a 10 gore skirt. In our earlier lessons, we had shown you how to draft a 10 panel skirt, but this one is a 10 gore skirt. There are many methods by which this skirt can be achieved, but in this lesson, we'll be showing you the easiest method ever by the use of your skirt pattern to achieve a 10 gore skirt. Now we have our half block here, the front block and the back block. Now the front block is on fold, and we will be manipulating the pattern to achieve our 10 gauze skirt. Now, as we had taught you earlier, the straight skirt block stops at the upper knee. Now, depending on the length of your skirt, you will be manipulating the skirt block to the length that at which you want your skirt to be. So, and if you observe on our pattern, the darts intake were not included during the drafting. It doesn't mean it was not included during the construction, but it was intentionally laid out from marking on the pattern so that while we are adapting the skirt, it can be then included. So we drafted, I am using a miniature mannequin in this tutorial with a dart intake of 1 inch. So all of it was imputed during the constructions, but I did not mark it on the pattern. So to begin our construction, we need to alter, to begin our adaptations, we are altering our straight skirt into a pencil skirt. To do that, you need to take out some width from your upper knee point, which is exactly what I am showing you now. I've taken out about 1 inch of the circumference of the upper knee in the front block, and I'll be doing the same in the back block. You see, if you observe, I am taking it from the side seam of the front skirt block, but when I'll be altering at the back, I will be removing this width both at the center front, at the center back, I beg your pardon, and at the side back. Okay, so that is what we're going to do now. So I'm going to be minusing that 1 inch that I had taken from the front. I will share it between my center back and my side back to be able to alter my skirt into a pencil skirt. So I'm marking out 1/2 inch at the center back and 1/2 inch at the side back. Let me use my marker pen so that it can be deep enough for you to see. Okay, so if you have any challenge here, you can watch our earlier tutorials on how to adapt a skirt block into a pencil skirt, and you will understand. So the next thing we are going to do now, we will be flaying out into a mermaid skirt. So now to the length of the skirt that we want, whatever is the length of the skirt that you'll be using. After you have turned your straight skirt into your pencil skirt, you flay it out to the length of the skirt that you desire. And to do that at the back, I'm flaying out on both sides, both the center back, the center back, and on my side back. But on the front block, I did that only at my side front, as you are observing. Now, there is another thing I'm going to be showing us. Though it's optional, at the hem, I usually like to give it a nice curve at the side seam. So I'm going to be taking out about 2 inches on this pattern. Now, like I said earlier, this is a miniature mannequin pattern that I'm using for for this lesson. So I'm taking out about 2 inches from my side front, and then I'm giving it a nice curve to my center front. Now for an adult mannequin, you can take out 2 or even more, as much as you would desire. So I usually like the shape at which it gives at the hem, but then like I said, this is very optional. If you would do it, and if you don't do it, it's still okay. Okay, having done that, having given out this thing, the next thing we are going to do now is we are going to return to the upper part of the skirt and do the manipulations. So what we are expected to do here is, along your skirt width, the circumference of your waist, the circumference of the waist on your pattern, you are going to be dividing whatever you have there by 3. Remember that 10 Gore skirts, the center front of the skirt is usually uncut. So to achieve that, we are going to be dividing the pattern into 3 panels, 3 pieces. So go to your skirt, the circumference of your waist, divide it by 3. The circumference on the hip, divide it by 3. The circumference on your upper knee, after you have turned it into a pencil skirt, divide it by 3. Then you also come to the hem, the circumference, and divide by 3. And then we go ahead and join the lines together, the points together. That is what we are doing now. I believe that that is easy enough. So on the hip now, I had divided by 3, and now on my upper knee, I'm going to be dividing also by 3. So whatever it gives us, you do the same thing at the hem, and then we will begin to join the points together. Okay, so as you can see, we have finished connecting the points together. That makes us have the first piece, the second piece, and the third piece. Now that first piece is on fold. Now let's go over now to the back block. Now I would like to alter the flay out at my center back, because observing the pattern is looking quite narrow at the back. So I would want to have it a bit more extended so that the fullness will be finer. So that's why I am adjusting that part so that my flay out at my center back can be beautiful and more telly. Okay, so having done that, we are going to the upper part of the skirt to divide the waist in 3 parts. So just like we did at the center, at the front block, we'll be doing the same. We'll divide it into 3 parts, and that's what I'm doing. At the hip line, I divided into 3. The upper knee, I divided into 3. And now at the hem, I'm dividing as well into 3 parts. So I'll begin also to connect the parts together to create my gauze. Okay, so that's what I'm doing at the hem. I'm marking the points because there was an extension there, so I have to include it in the division. So I'm going to go ahead now and connect the points together. Okay, so we have connected all our pieces together, and I am marking that to show that we are not using that other line again. So we have our center back piece, the middle piece, and the side piece. So Now, because of the zipper allowance, it will be dividing the center piece, the center back piece in two. Otherwise, if it's in a case where you are having your zipper by the side, that will remain one. So we will now go ahead and cut these pieces. Oh, sorry. Before we do that, remember we had talked about the dart intake that we had kept aside, which was 1 inch. Now, I'm going to be spreading my 1 inch dart into these style lines that I had made. Remember, I mentioned that while constructing the skate, we had included a 1 inch dart. So that dart intake, I'm going to be sharing them on my panel lines. So 1 inch, I'm going to be taking out 0.5 0.25, I beg your pardon, on either sides of my panel lines. So that is exactly what I'm doing on that panel line. I'm marking out 0.25 on either sides of the panel line and 0.25 on either side of the second panel line. And I'm going to end my dart at my dart end point. For the front skate, it should end at around 4.5 to 5 inches from my waist point. So I'm going to be drawing in a dart that will end at that point for the front block. I hope you understand my explanation. So that's where my dart is ending. So I'm drawing in the 0.25 on either side. So that takes out half inch on that panel line, and the second panel line will take out another half inch, and both of them will add up to the 1 inch that I had included while drafting the block. And I'm going to do the very same thing at the back. Now my dart end point at the back is about 5.5, and I am taking out 0.25 inch on either sides of my star lines, so that I can now construct my dart into my star line. This was the reason why I didn't mark my dart while drafting my basic skate. I only noted it that I have a 1 inch dart included. By doing this, I have been able to achieve two things using that style line. I've been able to make a style line, and I've been able to also include my dart intake along my style line. So I'm cutting it out now as marked on the pattern. Having drafted, it is needful that while you are cutting, you maintain the cutting along the lines that you have marked out all your points. So let's continue the cutting now. Voila, our pattern pieces are set. So I'm now going to be showing you how you can extend the gauze along the flay part of the skirt. Sometimes, having drafted the patterns, one may observe that the flays are not flowing as they should be, especially at the point of the cutout. They are not flowing well towards each piece, or you want to make more additions to your flay part. So I'm going to be showing you what you can do to achieve that. So I will be bringing in this blue paper you are seeing here to show us how you can extend your flay out on your skate. In case you want it to flay more, you also observe the parts that I'm flaying out and the techniques of flaying out. So that is the first piece of the front block, the center front. So I'm going to be flaying out the middle, the other part of it, not the part that will form my my mid of the skirt, the center point of the skirt. So I'm flaying out the side as you are observing. You can flay out by whatever value of increase you want added to your skirt. So I'm going to go ahead and do this to all my pieces. Remember that this is optional and you are flaying out as you desire. I'm just showing you that this is possible in a case where you want to increase the flay out on your lower part of the skirt. You want to increase the fullness. You can go ahead and join another paper and increase the fullness. This can be done on the pattern. This can also be done while cutting on the fabric. Whichever one is easy and okay for you, you can go ahead and do. But I'm showing you on the pattern so that it can be easily absorbed. So hang in there as we go ahead and increase the flay out on all the pieces. So as you see, we have been able to extend all the flay out on the hem of our skirt. And as you can observe what I'm doing, keep the skirt together along your hip line and see how the hem flows. In case there is any adjustment to be made, sometimes the pieces are longer than each other. So when you keep them the way I am holding, they show you the silhouette at the hem, and then you blend before you go on to cutting. So I'm laying out the patterns this way. Some are face up and others are tail up. Why I'm doing it this way is to conserve fabric, and because I'm using a plain fabric. If you were to use a fabric that has patterns, please do not place them like this, as the patterns will get distorted. But I'm placing them like this because I'm using a plain pattern, a plain fabric, and it can help me to conserve my pattern. So we will go ahead and cut them now. Okay, so we have cut them out all the pieces together, and you can see that I have added 0.5 inches at the hem for turning in, and at the sides at in my the pieces they so that as I'm joining the pieces, they won't be shortened. On the waist part, I have also included a sewing allowance of 0.5 that will help me turn in the waist. So on all the joining sides of the pieces as well, I have done. So on my side seams, that's my center, my side front, and my side back, I've added about 1 inch to be able to have my sewing allowance. So this is what you are going to do, and then let us go ahead and sew. So having joined our pieces together, that is what the front piece looks like. Front part of the skirt and the back part of the skirt. Please let us hear your comments, share, like, subscribe, and click the notification button. Thank you. Bye.